So the interesting thing for this year was there were new uses for the PPP proceeds that were rolled out. And if you have a monthly fee to a company that helps you manage your daily operations or your product or service delivery systems, or your inventory management, accounting systems, human resource systems, all of that. If you pay a monthly fee for any and all of those services, all of those monthly fees are allowed. However, they had to be in place on or before February 15th, 2020, like many of the expenses that we're going to cover here. The other thing that was new this year was for property damage that you had to have out-of-pocket payments for caused by civil unrest. And again, you're going to have invoices there for the work done. You please don't include any insurance reimbursements. It's only your out-of-pocket costs that you had to use for that. And regarding payroll costs for group insurance, it now includes life insurance and disability, as well as health, vision, and dental insurance. So those are all the group policies. And then the other thing is, if you had these expenses last year and you had a PPP loan last year, you can also use all of these expenses as part of your eligible expenses during your covered period for 2020. All right, so covers this year and last year. So that's a very good thing. The other thing I do want to point out, and you'll see this when we talk about the form, if you have two separate PPP loans, you do have to apply for them separately because they have different qualification requirements and they have different loan numbers. And you'll see that visually when we go through our application documents. Relatively speaking, the idle advance from 2020 is no longer relevant as part of the PPP loan forgiveness process. And, you can disregard having to worry about that particular thing for your 2020 and 2021 forgiveness process. Next slide, please. In regard to the tax provisions at the federal level, any debt that is forgiven related to the PPP loan is not taxable. The expenses that you paid with the PPP proceeds are allowed to be included as part of your tax deductible expenses. This is a clarification from what was happening last year. So again, everything that you spend the money on from your PPP proceeds is an allowed taxable deduction. All right. There are certain gross business income items that are not excluded. So you do need to make sure, again, if you received funds at the state and local level, you may be responsible for reporting that income as taxable under certain federal laws. This is why we want you to, work with your CPA to make sure you're in compliance. The other thing is, if you use that employer retention tax credit and you had a PPP loan, you have to make sure you're in compliance with the IRS guidance on the employee retention tax credit program. So just be aware that not all programs are equal in terms of interchangeability and compliance. So you really have to pay attention on the ones that are outside of the PPP program.